88 Rising is a hot air balloon. Without the huge size of a spaceship or an airplane, a hot air balloon rises into the air and stays afloat. While heat powers a hot air balloon to float, 88 Rising needs a similar heat among its listeners and fans. As a record label with a niche brand image, it does not have the steady foundation of large companies in the music industry. That's why it requires the continuous heat and passion of fans to support the company. Good morning, I'm Bowie. Together with my teammates Sally, Charlie, and Sophia, we're here to demonstrate how 88 Rising can rise like a hot air balloon and thrive in the air. First of all, we'll look at the key question of whether 88 Rising should stay as a niche player with a strong brand image or diversify its music genres and target audience in hopes of expanding itself. Based on our analysis on the company's strengths and weaknesses and its opportunities and threats, we will propose the two-part strategy of enhance and engage. By leveraging off its core values and existing resources and improving its brand image, we hope to create a $24.5 million incremental revenue by 2027, and while attracting 7.5 million fans across the globe to hop on the hot air balloon. First of all, let's take a look at an overview of 88 Rising. Headquartered in the US, 88 Rising mainly targets the Asian American community as core listeners. 88 Rising produced a wide array of Asian music over the years, starting with hip-hop and rap music with Indonesian artist Rich Brian, and adding R&B and soul music in recent years, featuring Japanese artist Joji. This demonstrates the variety of Asian culture in 88 Rising production, which aligns with its value proposition of promoting Asian culture. The company stars four main business pillars, with record label and artist management being the most well-known, while also working on media and marketing. As we can see, 88 Rising is a company of diversity. Not only are its music genres and culture varied, its key businesses are multifaceted too. The presence of competition of 88 Rising is fierce, which will be a threat to the company, mentioned later by my teammate Sophia. Recalling our key question on whether 88 Rising should stay as a niche brand or diversify and expand itself, we can trace back to what parts of 88 Rising is not diversified enough. The answer is clear. The target audience is narrow right now, limiting to only Asian Americans in the US. Hence, we should aim at improving the diversity of target audience and listeners. Moving on, here is a comprehensive analysis of our 88 Rising current status. While excelling in having a unique brand image and diverse nationalities and cultures, the companies also have some glaring flaws. Being a small company, the efficiency of management is not guaranteed. The brand image has also worsened over the years, which will be elaborated in the following slides. While opportunities and threats are obvious for 88 Rising, facing the growing Asian American population, it is certain that the company will have more space for development in the future. More importantly, fandom in the music industry has evolved over the past years. Nowadays, audiences value a closer relationship with their favorite artists. Americans also appear to show greater interest in Asian culture and music. On the other hand, the stiff competition for record companies, for listeners, and for emerging talents are also large threats for 88 Rising. After covering the overall SWOT analysis, Sophia will now delve into each section in more detail. Sophia, would you like to take it from here?
Sure, Bowie. Thanks for giving a brief introduction about the SWOT analysis of the company. Now, I would like to deep dive into each of the categories. Starting from the strength of 88 Rising, it actually excels in producing diverse Asian music. Firstly, it has a very diverse music genres, from hip-hop, rap, and hip-hop as its main genre in the beginning. It added R&B and soul music, followed by more pop or electronic songs, and even added the alternative music type now. In addition to producing diverse music genres, 88 Rising also features a range of Asian artists and helped launch their careers from various countries, and first showing the unique culture from each country. The wide range of Asian artists provided has attracted fans from not only Asian regions, but also Asian American groups. The prevalence of those artists can be proved by the statistic of Spotify monthly listeners. For example, there are 25.74 million monthly listeners for Joji, which undoubtedly show that the company have a strong listener base. By providing a platform for Asian artists to showcase their talents to audience all over the world, 88 Rising helped pave the way for more diverse and inclusive culture in music, eventually giving rise to its unique brand image. After introducing its strength, next slide, please. After introducing its strength, there are also some weakness of 88 Rising accordingly, in which the harm brand image is the major weakness. At least 2022, issuing NFT has become a trend for big companies, so as 88 Rising. It creates and issues 3 NFT connections. However, this act has brought undesirable outcome to itself. The first one is the damage to the environment. As creating NFT requires substantial amount of energy and electricity to run and keep the system. For example, the storage method is based on blockchain technology, which will eventually emit millions of tons of carbon dioxide. On the other hand, issuing NFT is widely seen as a performative activism in some eyes. It is more like a speculative market instead of really adding value or help promoting Asian music or culture. Therefore, despite the strong and unique brand image of 88 Rising, it is deteriorating. So, what can 88 Rising do to improve its brand image is the key point to be solved. Next, we will be talking about the opportunities spot in the market, specifically in expanding target customer groups. It can be seen that there are definite potential for expanding consumer group, and it is found from the K-pop fandom survey. 52% of respondents are from the North America, showing the Americans actually have huge interest in Asian music, in which 76% of them are white non-Hispanic, which also proves that there is lucrative potential in expanding into the non-Asian American consumer. On the other hand, the second opportunity observed in the market is the rising need in creating fan interaction, as fans are stressing more on connection and interaction with their favorite artists, supported by the statistic showing that 62% of music listeners in this is following their favorite artists on social media. It is suggested that the listeners are looking for engagement from artists instead of just solely listening to their songs. Having interactions on different social medias are of paramount importance, but there are also a rising trend of fans seeking interaction outside social media. For instance, there are in-person fans meeting, charity event undergoing with artists, pop-up feature stops and shops and album release party. So in conclusion, in order to seize the opportunity to grow, 88 Rising should expand into the white American consumer group, as well as creating more intimate fans interactions. Despite the opportunity it observed, the first step is to stay itself competitive in order to continue expanding. But the current problem is that 88 Rising is no longer the monopolist in the Asian music market. Firstly, it faced challenges from record companies, and its initial success in the Asian music industry has aroused other companies' interest in stepping into it. For instance, Sony Music and Warner Music have launched their sub-label Off-Mute and Asiatic Records respectively. Both aim to support the emerging Asian artists and to expand fan base to all over Asia and beyond. Apart from the competitions from record companies, it also faces the challenge of losing new talents. Taking Universal Music as an example, it launched a multi-label structure which increases its focus in scouting and fostering Chinese talents. Meanwhile, some new artists and key artists of 88 Rising also face the risk of being poached. To conclude our analysis, 88 Rising is absolutely having its unique advantage and edges to keep on developing. But its weaknesses and threats are also to be solved in order not to stop it from moving. How could 88 Rising do to gain continuous heat and passion of fans in order to support itself to continue floating on the sky? I will now pass the time to Sally to introduce our engage and enhance strategy.
Thank you, Sophia. After the in-depth analysis, how can we help 88 Rising set off and rise to its prime? This can be done in two parts, engage and enhance, which symbolizes infinite possibilities. First and foremost, as we previously identified the importance of fan interactions, it is essential for 88 Rising to put efforts into building a loyal audience. Next slide, please. This can be firstly done through leveraging their current social media platforms. One may include TikTok, Its fast impact can be seen from the commercial success of Joji's recent song, Glimpse of Us, which turned viral in TikTok. Seeing the potential in this popular platform, 88 Rising can initiate challenges that incorporate or promote their artist's music. Examples may be dance challenges that incorporate a specific song or dance routine. This encourages fans to participate by creating their own dance videos and using a specific hashtag to share their videos. They can also create a challenge that encourages collaboration between the artist and fans. This can include creating music together, writing lyrics, or creating artwork inspired by the artist's music. Another popular social media platform would be Instagram. 88 Rising should let their artists open lives to provide updates on their personal lives or Q&A stories where fans can submit questions for artists. In addition to these existing platforms, 88 Rising should also make use of rising platforms like Weverse, which is used by top stars like BTS and Western artists like Gracie Abrams. It includes features like chat rooms, message boards, and exclusive content for members who subscribe to the artists. All in all, these can make connections between their artists and fans more personal and foster an engaged fan base. Next slide, please. Such interactions can also be taken beyond online. It is evident that fans crave authenticity from musicians. Take Taylor Swift, for example, who is known for having a very devoted and loyal fan community. In fact, 60% of her fans describe themselves as avid fans. So how can we build one? The main trick is to connect with fans on a personal level. Taylor Swift did this by releasing documentaries, handwritten notes to fans, and in-person meetings. 88 Rising artists should also respond to this need by hosting in-person small meetings, such as inviting some fans to hear their new albums before release, or surprising fans on their special occasions like graduation or wedding. 88 Rising can also launch a special YouTube series where the label artists can share snippets of their personal lives or behind the scenes of their creative processes with their fans. These can all elevate artist-fan interactions. The second part of the strategy is to enhance the company's brand image. This can be done by starting an Asian Culture Month celebration. Next slide, please. One of the key features will be a pop-up store. It will display exclusive merchandise that incorporates artists' heritage and culture. It can also showcase new releases, such as music, videos, or albums, and encourage cross-promotion of other lesser-known artists. There will also be occasional special visits from the label artists for short live performances or fan meetings. A booth area will also be set up to sell food or products from a specific Asian country each week. These events can create brand awareness, build buzz and hype, and also promote 88 Rising's image and value to the public. Festival shows can also be held during this month as artists gather to perform. Next slide, please. This can help generate media coverage and publicity and also provide 88 Rising exposure to a large and diverse audience. The revenue from the ticket or merchandise sales can then be used for fundraising. 30% of the earnings are donated to charities for the API community, while a tree will be planted for each ticket sold. 88 Rising can thus build a socially responsible brand image. This helps them improve their reputation, attract talent, and also differentiate themselves from competitors. Next slide, please. Through these two strategies, 88 Rising can also diversify its target audience while having a solid brand image. I will now pass the time to Charlie to talk about the implementation of the strategies.
Thank you, Sally. For launching our strategy 1, Engage, we will first review our artists' social media content and set up Weverse accounts in 2023. Then, in 2024, we'll push our artists to interact with their fans on social media through live streaming and daily video, and several fans meetings will be held. In 2025, our artists will start operating and providing special contents like behind-the-scenes videos on Weverse and participate in volunteering activities with their fans to build up their image. We'll also review the effectiveness of fan meetings and volunteering data to see if we will continue doing it. For strategy 2, Enhance, we'll start the Asian Culture Month by 2025 and hold it once in a year. During that month, flagship store will be operated in a pop-up store mode to sell exclusive products and showcase new releases, and we'll also hold several concerts. Next slide, please. We identified some risks and they can be mitigated. For example, if 88 Rising is accused for inadequate ESG commitment, we will reiterate our efforts in holding volunteering activities like tree planting for its artists and fans to join. Also, 88 Rising can promote cultural diversity through its Asian Music and Asian Culture Month. Secondly, if Weverse is unpopular among fans, 88 Rising can utilize existing social media platforms to promote and provide more attractive updates on Weverse account. Lastly, if 88 Rising is unable to reach non-Asian group through Asian Culture Month, it can collaborate with KOL to do live streaming on YouTube and leverage its fans' power to promote it. Going to the financial part. Currently, 88 Rising's artists who have a total of 71.3 million followers on IG. Also, its followers increased by 7 to 10% per year constantly. Therefore, we predict that by 2027, 88 Rising artists will have 94 million followers on IG. Given that other bands like BTS and Blackpink have 25% of its followers joining Weverse, we predict that around 8% of fans of 88 Rising will join Weverse, which is around 1/3 of top bands in the globe. Also, they were paid $22 per year, generating a revenue of $16.5 million in 2027, based on the data from top bands. For strategy 2, next slide please. We assume 88 Rising will hold 5 concerts of 30,000 audience, with the average ticket price being $80, which is taken from past concert ticket price. Hence, it can reach over 150,000 audience during the Asian Culture Month, and we will try to invite more non-Asian people to be the major audience. Also, we will generate $12 million from concert and around 2 to 3 million from flagship store, in which 30% will be donated to charity to improve our brand image. This is our presentation. I'm delighted to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, team. Can we put the timer at 15 minutes? 15, great. Judges, please feel free to ask your questions when you're ready.
I can start first. Thank you very much for a great presentation. I wanted to follow up with your $16.5 million on revenue. Can you explain again what is that based on? And what are the costs that are going to incur from all the expansion and fan interaction, and how does that be taken into account when you think about whether the strategy is going to work or not?
Yeah. So firstly, it is based on the past data from like BTS and Blackpink. Actually, they're doing in a model that the subscriber of Weverse have to pay around $22 per year in order to join Weverse, and they can get some fans exclusive special contents like behind the scene videos, more interaction and chatting from our artists. And I would say those updates we have to hire a team of professionals to manage the Weverse account. That is more or less not a very huge cost to 88 Rising. Rather, it can have a more engagement and a connection with our fans through more in-depth and special and attractive contents like those daily video, live streaming, chatting. So it can create an atmosphere that the fans can have a closer interaction with its idol and with their idol. And I think we do not predict the cost, because the cost is the artists can use their live streaming to engage their fans. So it's basically not too much cost. And you can go to the appendix slide. For the appendix, yes. For the right hand side, you can see for BTS or the famous local Hong Kong group, Mira, they also set up their Weverse account, and around 20% to 25% of their IG fans have subscribed the Weverse account, generating a huge subscribe fee every year. So I think it can be a reference for 88 Rising to help set up a Weverse account for their for their artists.
Thank you for your presentation. I thought it was very clear. If I could ask a question, please, about going to your SWOT analysis and one of the weaknesses that you've identified. You know that it's a small company; it's got less than 200 employees. Looking for your thoughts on how the company is going to actually cope with the initiatives that you are proposing. How feasible is it to implement on the current employee base? Will it need further people? Your thoughts around that, please, would be welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So our team have already identified that the company is rather small in size, and the number of employees is not really that large. However, one of our strategies that is engaged does not require a lot of human resources into this field, because it is only requiring the live streaming or other engagement activities from the artists themselves. However, the other strategy that is enhanced will require some more industry professionals in order to build some engaging pop-up stores or other kind of activities within the Asian culture month. Therefore, we think that it would be a challenge in the future. However, we with the company size currently, it can successfully cope with these kind of strategies.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. If I could ask, the path you assess was to go through diversification. From a name brand perspective, how would that impact or dilute your current strength? Yeah.
So thank you for your question. So first, we have identified the current strengths of 88 Rising as being a very niche player in the music industry, of having a very strong brand image of in Asian rap and Asian hip hop or other Asian culture products. However, we think that with our strategies, it won't be diluting the original brand image, because we are keep on promoting how diverse and how Asian centric the company is. Therefore, the company would not be diluted over our strategies. There is a concern that it would diversify our. If there is a concern that it would diversify our target audience, it would actually not bring a negative impact to the original intended audience of Asian Americans, because they will still be engaged by our different strategies. However, we hope to expand into different types of target audience in order to further enhance the whole business operation of the company.
And in terms of your strategy, competing with the more deeper pocket competitors, how would you assess, them not encroaching, in terms of what idea you already have?
Perhaps I can elaborate on this question. As you see for our strategy in Enhance, the festival shows that we hold, they're actually 88 Rising actually have held some festival shows before, but they are not focused around having calls such as fundraising. Next slide, please. Therefore, for the corresponding festival shows, as we actually are using it for fundraising, such as for charities and climate cause, I think this is a very unique strength of 88 Rising, as they can have a very socially responsible brand image. And I think by showing the company's commitment to ESG causes, this can help them actually differentiate themselves as they are more socially responsible and be able to be care about the environment or society more compared with their competitors. Yes.
I would like to add on to Sally's point about how to prevent other encroachment of other kind of companies to copy our strategies. I think that it is inevitable that other type of competitors will eventually have the reference of our success in our strategies and try to copy the mode of our success. However, we think that our strategies focus on creating the connection within our fans and our artists. Therefore, this kind of connection will not be easily encroached by other companies, and it would not be a huge problem if other companies try to start off their own initiatives, as it would not have a negative impact on the original connection with our fans and artists.
Thank you. I think one of your main points of the presentation is that you don't want to just have Asian Americans as your target audience, but that you also want to expand into white Americans as well. I think the various initiatives you are doing right now is just to seek to increase the fan interaction, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you will be able to increase the target audience, because that's to strengthen the current connection that you have. So do you have any particular specific strategies that you could do to actually expand into the white American audience?
Thank you for a question. So we've actually considered this risk of not actually attracting non-Asian American groups, and we've identified this in our risk and mitigation of unable to reaching these kind of non-Asian groups through our strategies. So we've come up with the ideas of collaborating with other KOLs and YouTubers to try to tackle these kind of other cultural groups in order to successfully expand into these kind of other kind of target customers. So to give a more specific example, we've mentioned Taylor Swift as an example before of having a very loyal fan base, and we all know that a lot of fans of Taylor Swift are actually the white non-Hispanic groups of the US also. Therefore, we think that collaborating with artists like Taylor Swift or other or similar types of artists will give us a more intimate approach towards connecting with non-Asian cultural groups with our strategy.
Yeah, and then adding on to Bowie. Adding on to Bowie, and I think the whole Asian Culture Month initiative is to attract more non-Asian fans to join 88 Rising. So basically, you can see the pop-up store, and we showcase our releases. And if we set up in LA or the west coast of US, that is to approach more fans or more people that is not yet the fans of 88 Rising. And also for the festival shows, we can generate more media coverage, and we can attract more KOL to help promote the festival shows. So basically, our major target audience is not our fan base, not the Asian group, but rather we want to invite more non-Asian group to join our festival to expand our fan base.
Perhaps I can add on a bit more on how our strategy can aim to attract more non-Asian fan base. And as in our first strategy, which is to increase the fan interaction. And we are taking the example of BTS, which is a very famous Korean boy band. And the research found that many non-Asian Americans actually like K-pop. And our group believe the reason is that because they are immersed in the culture of Korean. For example, BTS often have some live stream on Instagram or other social media platform, and their live streaming content is usually just showing that what they're doing in their daily life or what they're eating in their daily meals, and this can help the foreign or non-Asian Americans know about their culture. And so as in our second strategy, that's to hold a culture month, and this event is mainly to aim to let more Asian non-Asian American know about the culture of each country, for example, China, Indonesia, because, for example, some cultural food will be provided, and also the nature of this cultural month includes some outdoor activity like the outdoor concert or outdoor performance of artists, which is very popular in US nowadays. So this can attract more audience flow in this month, and also give them a chance to get to know more about their culture. Then they can immerse in the culture and want to know more about the culture. Therefore, aim to knowing more about the artists and listening to their songs.
Could I ask, please, about the reliance on the CEO? We understand that there is a reliance, and looking at your proposals, what does that do to the reliance on the CEO? Does it keep it the same? Does it lessen the reliance? What are your general thoughts on the CEO reliance and the impact that your proposals would have on that? Thank you.
I think through our strategy one, which is to increase the interaction between artists and fans, it needs the operation from different staff from our company in order to build up that interaction platform. And I think through this strategy, we can lessen the impact of over reliance on our CEO, because we can build up the own interaction between fans and artists and try to lessen the influence of solely relying on CEO. And also for the Asian Culture Month, we can see it is a bridge between our fans and reaching more non-Asian fans. So actually, it can also lessen the impact of having a CEO to manage everything in our company and reaching different connections, just like the case question has mentioned.
Perhaps to clarify on Charlie's point, what we want to present is that we can actually reduce our reliance on the CEOs on promotion of our artists. As you see, for both our strategies, like enhancing the engagement and even our brand image, they're not only focused on the CEO's personal connections. So we can see that for our two strategies, it can actually help us reduce the reliance and actually help artists have some more freedom in expressing their work. And this will be a very good benefit for the company. Yes.
Okay, time for another quick question and quick answer.
Yes. When you mentioned diversification, you touch on the channel as well as the audience. Have you considered around different genre of music or different type of artists?
Thank you for a question. So currently, 88 Rising is actually already stepping into a lot of different genres. As mentioned in our analysis, they have already focused on 4 different type of genres in the music industry. Therefore, it is shown that 88 Rising is already very diverse in their music production. So our strategy does not really focus on diversifying the production of music and their genres, because we think that this part is already sufficiently done before, while we focus on diversifying the target audience instead.
Okay, thank you, team from CUHK for your presentation and the Q&A. And thank you, judges.